to talk. And we got a lot to cover. I tell you, you know, what I'm going to focus on first is the Russian-Ukraine war and everything that's going on with that. Because this is just, it's insane. First of all, Biden got this war started. Make no mistake about that. If you remember, Biden, it wasn't just his weakness. Biden said to the world, to Putin, that he could take some of Ukraine. How much? He didn't say, but he could take some of it. That's a green light. The only person who wants peace at all is President Trump. Putin doesn't want it. Zelinsky and his henchmen, they don't want it. The military-industrial complex in the United States does not want the war to end. The Democrats don't want peace. And the Bush Republican never-Trumper establishment from the Bush wing, the neocons, they don't want peace either. That's just the way it is. Only Donald Trump wants the war to end. And it doesn't look like it's going to end anytime soon. You know, this story of the assassination attempt by Ukraine on Putin, I don't know if that's true or not. You know, the Russians, and you know, Ukrainians are Russians. I mean, the way I look at this is it's a civil war. I know a lot of people will say it's not, but it's a civil war, right? I mean, do you guys agree with that? At least to a certain extent, Ukraine was part of the Soviet Union, and Putin views Ukraine as Russian, right? And I'm not arguing either way. I don't think this war in Ukraine is our fight or our business. But obviously, no one wants the war to end except for Donald Trump. So, you know, if they don't end this war, Trump's going to pull out. And just wash his hands of it. Now, of course, whatever happens after that, you know, the Trump haters, the fake news media, and all those people are going to blame President Trump. But what is he to do? It's possible that this drone attack on Putin's helicopter happened and was an assassination attempt by Ukraine, but it's just as possible that this story is BS too. You know, the Russia and Ukraine, they're the same people, right? I mean, it's like, I know there's differences, and, you know, but the differences aren't as many as you might think, right? Because they were part of the Soviet Union for so long, part of Russia for so long, but their mindset is the same. So you can't believe what either of them say, right? They're all propagandists. Both sides, Ukraine and Russia, are both propagandists. So you have to take whatever they say with a grain of salt. Like I said, it is entirely possible that Ukraine launched those drones on Putin's helicopter, but it's just as possible that Putin did it to give him the okay to continue to bomb the civilians that he's doing. But President Trump says he's gone crazy. So, you know, who knows, right? We really don't know what's going on. But what we do know is that it's not our fight. It's not our war. The United States has been involved in enough conflicts. Certainly, we've been involved in enough European conflicts. I mean, my goodness, remember Bosnia and all of that? So, you know, what are we supposed to do? Get into another war because these lunatics can't come to the table and come to an agreement? I mean, you know, come on. Come on. Now, if you're new to my channel, my name is Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. I mean, it seems to me, now give me a yes or no on this. It seems to me that out of everyone involved in this, President Trump's the only one that wants the war to stop. the only one that wants peace. Do you agree with that? Yes or no? What do you think? Do you agree or disagree with that? Yeah, I agree. So, if the other sides don't want peace, what is President Trump supposed to do? Now, I'm taking today off the radio. I'll be back live on the radio taking calls tomorrow. Yeah, I mean, what's he supposed to do? President Trump has done everything possible. Rando says, who doesn't want peace besides Putin? Putin doesn't want peace. Zelinsky and the billionaires that control him don't want peace. The American military-industrial complex don't want peace. The Democrats don't want peace. And the neocons, the Bush Republicans, the rhinos, Republicans in name only, or I call them rats, Republicans against Trump, the anti-Trump Republicans, none of them want peace. Out of all those groups, Putin, Zelinsky, and with Zelinsky we put in his henchmen in Ukraine, right? The Democrats, the media, the military-industrial complex, and the Bush Republican neocons, out of all of those, only Trump wants peace. That's it. There's a lot of money in war, and, you got to wonder, listen, Bobby Kennedy has been very clear with this, all right? Bobby Kennedy Jr. His uncle was assassinated because he wasn't going to escalate in Vietnam and was going to pull out the advisors we had there. The day after Kennedy was assassinated, Johnson escalated Vietnam. His dad, Bobby Kennedy, was running on ending the war in Vietnam and pulling out. They killed him. He didn't get the nomination because he was killed, Bobby Kennedy. Nixon wins in '68, and then there's a major escalation in Vietnam with all that peace with honor stuff that they were pushing. Okay? There's a lot of money in these wars. That's why, like Vietnam is the textbook example of this, right? The Vietnam War, those that were in Vietnam were not allowed to fight the war in a way to win the war, and the purpose of the war in Vietnam was to prolong it as long as possible to feed the military-industrial complex. They got 10 years out of it. But look what happened with the war on terror, Afghanistan, Iraq. They got 20 years out of that. So they don't want these wars to end. They want stalemates. Like in the First World War, they want stalemates. And that's just the way it is. If I had a child that wanted to join the military, I would try to talk them into joining the Coast Guard if they were, insisted on it. I really would. Because with Putin and Zelinsky escalating things and not ending this war, that's what could spread it. That's what could spread the war to other parts of Europe. And it doesn't take a lot to make that happen. And then what happens? A BS war over what? Now let me ask you guys this. This is another yes or no question. The assassination attempt that's being reported on Putin, if you missed it, it's been reported even with Putin's helicopter pilot, that I've heard different numbers of drones. Ukrainian drones attacked Putin's helicopter and their defenses were able to defeat them. That Zelinsky attempted an assassination on Putin. Now, that's possible. It's very possible, but it's also just as possible that Putin is lying about that. Maybe there was no assassination attempt. Maybe his own people are trying to assassinate him. Maybe there's no assassination attempt, so he can justify these attacks on um, Ukraine. So what I'm asking you guys is this. Do you agree that it's unclear what this assassination attempt on Putin was all about? I think it's unclear, and we shouldn't jump to conclusions on it because you don't want to get involved in escalating. You can't trust Russians or Ukrainians, their governments. You can't trust either government. They're both full of it, propagandists. You cannot trust them. No, Blue Crow, we're not going to talk like that. Yeah. You know, Putin's getting a lot of heat for all this bombing he continues to do and this escalation. But if that were true, that would give him justification for it. Well, the problem with letting Europe deal with it, Europe does not have the military capability to deal with it. And as pissed off as we are at NATO, we still have treaty obligations with NATO, right? So if a NATO country gets attacked, we are obligated by the NATO alliance, the NATO treaty, to defend them. The NATO alliance says an attack on one is an attack on all, which I can't believe that they signed that crap after the entangling alliances of the First World War. And and another thing with Europe is they have very small, ineffective militaries. They have basically no navies, very small armies, and they don't have the ability to fight a war or defend themselves. And the reason that is because they've had Big Daddy, the United States, taking care of all of that. So they haven't spent the money on it. So Europe doesn't have the ability to defend themselves without us. So if it spreads to the rest of Europe, we're in a war again. Over what? Nothing. Nothing. But the military-industrial complex will get rich. Mm-hmm. Kuwait, I'm not here to give you basic anti-communist explanations. I mean, come on. I'm not your college professor. Anyone who thinks communism sucks is somebody that's broke and doesn't have any money. Maybe if you weren't Twitch streaming all day and wouldn't got a job, you'd understand how great capitalism is. That's your lesson, loser. Yeah, I mean, it's just, you know, when Trump came out, he said Putin's crazy. Australia, welcome. If you're new to my channel, my name's Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Make sure you subscribe. Yeah, I'm going to be off the radio today because Memorial Day. Memorial Day is a big holiday in the United States. Pretty much everyone's off work. Welcome. Guts for Garters, longtime subscriber. Well, welcome and thank you. No, so this is just a mess in Ukraine. It's a complete mess. And it's because of Biden and Zelinsky and Putin. But they're going to blame Trump for everything. But Trump's going to shut Russia down economically. He really is. You know, a lot of these Middle Eastern countries do business with Russia. And he's got all these new friends over there. They're going to be totally cut off. Which in the long run, in the short run, it might win it. But in the long run, it's going to force them to get tighter with Iran and China. I'll tell you. It's just a mess. It's a mess. Oh, boy. You know, and the liberals that have always been the give peace a chance crowd, all of a sudden, you know, since this Ukraine war, they're all fight, fight, fight wars. I don't get that. What happened to give peace a chance? Trump's always been anti-war, always. Oh, this dude understands it all, man. Trump supporting Russia. He got off Air Force One yesterday, or was it Marine One, and he said Putin's gone crazy. He says, I don't know what happened to him. He's gone crazy. So that doesn't sound like he's supporting Putin to me. And he talked about shutting Russia down, the collapse of the Russian economy. No. No, he's plenty pissed. No, caps made in America. I got to show this every freaking stream. Made in the USA. Not that if it were made in China, that's a bad thing. Most everything's made in China. You know, President Trump said yesterday in that tarmac press conference, it was interesting what he said. You know, it was where he talked about Putin going crazy. He said they asked him about textiles. He says, I don't want to make shoes and T-shirts. I guess they asked him about Nike. I couldn't quite hear the reporter's question. I could hear Trump's answer. I think they asked him about Nike. And President Trump said he doesn't want to bring T-shirt and shoe manufacturing back to the United States. He wants to bring like real manufacturing, right? Miles, thank you for that super chat. God bless Donald Trump. Hashtag MAGA. Absolutely. Thanks, Miles, for the super chat. You know, he says he wants to bring real manufacturing back, not T-shirts and shoes. He says they can do the textiles anywhere, but he wants to build ships and steel and all that, you know, real stuff. So I thought that was interesting. Yeah. I was surprised that he said that, but he's right. I mean, you know, can you make textiles profitably? You know? Like this hat, okay? This hat's made in the USA. It costs $50 for this cap. Most caps, like if you get a cap that's not made in the US, it's like $8, $10, but $50. Yeah, so I thought that was interesting what he said. But whatever device you're watching me on probably was not made in the United States. Does that make you a hypocrite? Yeah, if you're new, this is where MAGA comes to talk. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. Oh, this is worth every penny. Are you kidding? Absolutely. Now, there's a few other things, too. Your thoughts on Ukraine are welcome in the chat. If I see anything worthy, if I catch something, I will comment on it. Later today, I'm going to have a vlog up. I gave a sneak peek to the Patreon supporters. Patreon supporters, you got to see the video yesterday morning, but I went to get my wife's oil changed at the car dealership, and I was wearing this hat, and I was confronted by a Never Trumper, and I have a vlog up. You'll see it later today on the channel here. Now, another issue is this George Floyd Day, right? Now, this is one you want to be careful of, and I'll tell you what I mean by it. Obviously, I agree with all the conservatives about George Floyd, but there's a group of Never Trumpers, and it's Ben Shapiro is big into this, you know, and he's, you know, I agree with Ben Shapiro on Israel, but I don't agree. I don't like him, and he does a lot of crap, and he hates Trump. And Ben Shapiro has been trying to get this thing going of Trump pardoning Derek Chauvin. Now, Derek Chauvin is the police officer in the George Floyd incident. Trump can't pardon him. Presidents can only pardon people on federal crimes, and Chauvin was convicted in state court, so the governor would have to pardon him. And this St. George Floyd Day thing that they have going on, it's a trap to try to cause racial divisions, right? I was talking yesterday morning on the live stream about how Democrats are always trying to divide people. And that George Floyd, Derek Chauvin got a raw deal, right? And a lot of mess came out of that. But it's a trap to try to get you to talk about it today and defend Derek Chauvin. It's a trap, you know, and it's, they would like to be able to get BLM back together. They want to get the band back together. BLM has been discredited. It really doesn't exist anymore. That doesn't mean there's not Black Lives Matter groups here and there, but as a organization, Candace Owens did a good job exposing the real estate scam. So they bring up George Floyd, just like they had the Patriot Front out there over the weekend, to try to get MAGA people to start trashing George Floyd and defending Derek Chauvin, to try to turn blacks off of the Republican Party for the midterm elections. I mean, that's just what they're doing. They're trying to cause racial division again over George Floyd. So I wouldn't fall for it. Don't fall for it. That's my opinion. You know, Ben Shapiro hates Trump. He's always trying to go viral or something because he's so irrelevant right now, right? And he knows as well as we do that Trump can't pardon Derek Chauvin. You know, it's a. I'm not sure if it's just him doing clickbait and trying to go viral, or if it's just a never Trumper move to try to hurt Trump. Maybe it's both, but it's stupid. I love Trump, Tony. Love Trump. Are you kidding me? I'm the biggest Trump supporter there is. That's right. Make sure you subscribe if you are new. I don't really pay much attention to Steven Crowder. I talk about this a lot. I don't watch a lot of other people that, you know, talk news and politics. I'll see some clips on X, you know, like Benny Johnson mostly, you know, Shapiro, but I don't really pay much attention to Steven Crowder. I really don't know what Steven Crowder's about. I mean, you know, these days. Just because someone is conservative doesn't mean you want to just go out and support them. I don't know if he's a good guy or a bad guy. I don't know. I didn't like there's two things that he did. There were two things with him I did not like. I don't like Ben Shapiro or Jeremy Boring, okay? Jeremy Boring, who's let go at the Daily Wire. But he had that conversation with Jeremy Boring, Crowder, and he recorded it. And I thought that was a low-life thing to do. I thought that was a real low-life thing to do, to record a conversation. It wasn't illegal, but recording a private phone conversation like that, I don't respect that at all. No, I don't like that at all. Nope. Nope. Now, I can't remember who released that video of him and his wife arguing in their backyard. Was that him or the wife? I can't remember. But that Jeremy Boring tape, I don't like Jeremy Boring or Ben Shapiro or any of them, but recording a private phone conversation with someone and then releasing it, I don't care for that at all. I don't care for that at all. Nope. No. That's not the kind of moral character that I like. So anyway, the big story of the day is Russia, Ukraine, and Trump. Okay? And, you know, I was talking at the beginning of the stream. Out of all the parties involved, President Trump's the only one that wants peace. And what the media are going to start doing is saying, well, Trump said he was going to end the war. For Trump to end the war, the leaders of Ukraine and Russia have got to want to end the war. And both of these guys are bad dudes. You know, there's no way either side can fully win. Ukraine has the most to lose because now with this assassination attempt story against Putin by Ukraine, whether or not it's true or not, Putin's playing it like it's true. He may use that as a justification to take all of Ukraine, which he could do. Yeah. So why? We should get involved in that? That's Trump's fault? It's not Trump's fault at all, but that's how they're going to play it. What's he supposed to do? You know, I mean, look at how Zelinsky behaved at the White House with everything that this country's given to him. You know? If he's behaving that way to someone who's given him billions of dollars, Zelinsky, the United States, could you imagine what he would be like in negotiations face-to-face with Putin? Come on. Mm-hmm. Invoke the draft. Why would you want to do that? Europe is a disaster. Europe is a complete disaster. It always has been. You know, the rest of Europe want a war because they're greedy. Their leaders are greedy, and they view a war as a way for them to steal money. And they're trying to lock us into it. And I got to tell you that I believe that we should be Switzerland in this. With Ukraine and Russia, we should be totally neutral. And if the war spreads to the rest of Europe, we should be Switzerland. Enough. Enough. Rainbow Melon just subscribed. Well, thank you and welcome. Thanks for subscribing. This is where MAGA comes to talk. I'm off the radio today. It's Memorial Day, so I'm going to take the day off. Not that I slept in. I've been up for hours. What, are we supposed to get into another war because of Europe? Come on. No. I'm sorry. We got to take care of things here. I mean, how many people are going to watch Band of Brothers or Saving Private Ryan or The Battle of the Bulge today, right? Memorial Day, a lot of war movies. You know, we're going to go fight for them again? No. I don't think so. I don't think so. Mm-mm. Nope. It is nice to have a day off, I must tell you. Very nice to have a day off. I might have to get another cup of coffee. I've been up for about 3 hours. I can't sleep in. My body's on a clock. It's Monday. I got to get up, even if I'm not doing the radio show today. The tariffs are a good thing. I mean, you know. I mean, I don't know how many times we've got to explain it. All these countries around the world are ripping us off. They have these insane tariffs against us. We have these low tariffs on them. Why do I support Trump? There's many reasons why. I mean, if you want to be specific, I mean, look, in the big, beautiful bill alone, you know, keeping the Trump tax cuts, making my life a whole lot easier. Oh, my goodness. You know, look at what he's done. You know, President Trump has brought American pride back. And you could see, I was talking about this on the stream on yesterday's stream, and you look at West Point. Right, I was talking about this yesterday. By the way, I got a new podcast that I uploaded last night. It's got Jake Tapper in the thumbnail. Make sure you check that out, guys. And the Brian Craig Show podcast I upload here on YouTube, and it's on all podcast platforms too, so you can listen in your car. These graduates of West Point on Saturday, they're about between 22, 24. So they were how old when Obama became president in 2008? So let's see here. Obama became president 17 years ago. So these graduates of West Point were between 5 and 7 years old when Obama was president, right? Their whole life, all they've had is DEI, Black Lives Matter, critical race theory, the 1619 Project, and the list goes on. And here we have an entire, oh, it's getting windy. I might have to put the, oh, it's raining. I'm glad I didn't bring the MAGA scooter. I drove my car. I brought my windscreen. It is raining. I almost rode the MAGA scooter. I'm glad I did not. But anyway, so these graduates between 5 and 7 years old when Obama became president, all they, I better put it on. Hold on. I'll explain in a minute. Let me put the wind guard on. It is rainy and windy. See, this is, sometimes people call these dead cats. It'll get a little loud. There we go. So, to have a graduating class at West Point whose whole I mean, they were like 12 years old when Trump came down the escalator. For them to graduate West Point and be proud of America, proud of our military, proud of our great President Donald Trump, that is amazing. And President Trump has brought American pride back to a great level with young people. It's really raining. Look at that. Oh boy. I guess I'm going to stay here for a while. Looks like Don King's hair. Look at that. Now. And, you know, I was on my podcast last night, which you should tune into. It's a very good podcast. I covered a lot of stuff. But one of the things I talked about is I watched an interview with Raymond Arroyo. You guys know Raymond Arroyo? He's on Fox all the time. He's on EWTN. He's very good. And he interviews a lot of famous people. I've never seen his interviews before. He's amazing. He interviewed David Mamet, who's a screenwriter and director. He wrote the Untouchables movie, Glengarry Glen Ross, and a bunch of things. And he's a MAGA guy, big Hollywood guy, lives in a palace like Citizen Kane. And he made an interesting point about the Democrats. He said when Trump was elected in November, the Democrat Party machine died. That was it. It's over. The Democrats are done. And he says, and he talked about it. He says, you look at the protest that the Democrats have, like the Tesla protest, for example. All senior citizens. They're all old hippies, and they don't have young people anymore. David Hogg, he's a man alone, and the Republicans under Trump with MAGA, we've got the youth, right, in this country. And the Democrats, the Democrats are done as a political party. They're done, and they're not bringing in new Democrats. Young kids, high school kids, college kids, they're becoming Republican. And I go into more detail in it on the podcast. I'm going to go through it all now. And that's true. The Democrats are done. And it's all because of Donald Trump. But the biggest turn that red-pilled America and the youth, the biggest turn was when the Never-Trumpers shot the president at Butler. That was it for him. That was the, David Mamet said November, when Trump was elected, was the death of the Democrat Party. I say it's when they shot him in Butler. And that's it, and President Trump, he talked about this being the golden age of America, and it is, this sense of American pride that we have again, like we had during the Reagan years. It's morning in America. That's what's going on now. It's morning in America again because of Donald Trump. But Ronald Reagan didn't have the broad support of young people that President Trump has. You know, so I mean that's just a, you know, President Trump has saved our country and Western civilization, and that is a fact. And slow down already. Still glad I bought my car though. It's raining a little bit. Oh no, this is all great stuff. Great stuff. That's a fact, Jack. That's right, David. That's exactly right. You know, and that's what I was talking about, this West Point class. Obama, his 2 terms, and then his 3rd term with Biden. You got 12 years of Obama, basically, right? His 8 years, and then Biden's 4. And what we're finding out now with the auto pen and what was going on there, you know, I mean, my goodness. Oh, here goes the rain again. You've had 12 years of the last 16 years all hate America promotion. That's it, right? America's the root cause of all evil, you know, as they bring us into this European war with Russia and Ukraine, they put these guys in dresses and make them generals and admirals and colonels and crap, you know, which weakens our military and takes the fear of our military out of the world, out of our enemies, everything they have been doing. So to have this graduating class at West Point be so great and pro-American and love our president and love our country is an amazing thing. You know, it's amazing. Without a doubt. Now, if you're new to my channel, make sure that you subscribe. This is where MAGA comes to talk. And if you'd like to support my channel, guys, don't forget, go to mypillow.com. Use my promo code Kane at checkout, K-A-N-E, for huge savings. You can save up to 80% off of some of the most popular MyPillow products with my promo code Kane at checkout, K-A-N-E, at mypillow.com. Yeah, so, I mean, and I'll tell you another thing, too. I have, these senators, they're trying to promote this narrative that the Republicans in the Senate aren't going to pass the big, beautiful bill. Trump will get the big, beautiful bill passed. He talked about this on the tarmac yesterday. The Senate's going to make, that's how it works. The House passes a bill, they send it to the Senate, the Senate makes changes, then they send it back to the House for a vote. That's it. That's how every bill works. But they're trying to create this fake narrative that what's happening is some kind of Republican revolt. I'm not saying that Lindsey Graham and some of these others aren't rhinos, but that's how every bill works, what's going on in the Senate now. And we've got Trump now, so don't worry about it. Trump will take care of it. There are no cuts to Medicaid. That's a total lie. Total lie. In fact, President Trump is saving Medicaid by his executive order on prescription drug prices. Dr. Oz was talking about this yesterday on Fox. There's no cuts to Medicaid. What cuts are they making? It's total BS. Yeah, they're cutting off the illegals. That's right. Yeah. If they want to call that a cut, that people that are in the country illegally and don't qualify for benefits will no longer receive benefits, I mean, I don't count that as a cut, do you? That's fraud. No, you can't have him in the UK. Yeah, he's ours. Sorry. You got to find your own Trump. I don't know if I'll have a podcast today or not. I uploaded a new podcast last night. It's got Jake Tapper in the thumbnail. I don't know. I could have done the radio show today, but I need a little bit of, can't really say a day off because I got stuff to do, but, you know, need a little bit of a break. I gotta rest sometime. I am in Florida, that's right. And it is rainy hurricane season. That's why it's raining. Good. My landscaping needs the rain. Oh, yeah. I mean, this other ridiculous thing, they're trying to create some scandal with the Trump coin. These people are out of their minds. They're just not, you know, they're really desperate to have a scandal on Trump. Right? They're so desperate. Trump's a puppeteer. Yeah, he is. He is certainly that. Well, thank you. I'm glad you like the show. Yeah, those of you that don't watch me on the weekends, I do live streams like this all the time. Not, you know, when I'm not on the air doing the morning show, I do these kind of live streams all the time. Later today, I'm going to upload a vlog that the Patreon supporters you got to see yesterday. And I went to the dealership to get my wife's oil changed. And if I go to the dealership, I got 3 years of free oil changes, right? Synthetic oil, it's like $120 to get the oil change. So I go there for free. And a customer got pissed off at this hat. And I made a vlog for of my day on Saturday, which I'm going to upload later today on the channel here. So keep an eye out for it. I see, you know, the big beautiful bill will pass. It's just these senators, they're all trying to get a little something. That's all. And that's the way it works. You know. You know, it was like the other day with Bobby Kennedy. He was in one of those hearings. Was it the Senate or the House? I can't remember which one it was. And he's like, you guys have been here for 30 years, 40 years, and you haven't done jack for all this. You know, he's here a couple of months. He's got everything taken care of. All right, Congress are a bunch of just thieves. They're only in Congress, both houses, to make themselves rich, right? Art of the deal, that's correct. When Trump writes his book of his presidency, I wonder if he'll call it The Art of the Political Deal. Those hearings are stupid. You know, you know, they're so stupid. The Congress, both houses, they don't want you to answer. They ask questions, but they're really making statements, and they ask you the most terrible things, and then you go to answer, and then they reclaim my time, reclaim my time. I mean, you know, it's so stupid, those hearings. They've got to appear, they're required to, but I wouldn't play those games. I wouldn't play those games. I would sit in silence. Screw them. I would be the most uncooperative cabinet witness ever if they had me in one of those hearings. I would give them yeah and no answers. I know, you know. Nope. Nope. Yep. Nope. Yep. Nope. I wouldn't play that game. I wouldn't try to explain myself. Nothing. And then I'd come out and tell the press, this is, you know, I got to be here. Law requires it, but this is, you know, BS. Why would you plead the fifth? Have you done something? Yeah, if I'd have brought the MAGA scooter, I'd have been getting wet. I've seen all the Apprentice seasons, not for years, but you know, they're on Amazon now, The Apprentice. Here comes the rain again. It's really coming down. No, but that I wouldn't give them the dignity of the fifth. I would just give them a yep, no, yeah, uh-huh, nope, uh-huh, maybe, I don't know. I'd be very uncooperative. Actually, it has not been raining that much this year, so I'm glad it's raining. It's been in the 90s the last few days, so the rain will keep it cool. Welcome, everyone. If you're new to my channel, my name is Brian Craig. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Make sure that you subscribe. No, you can take the fifth, but if you took the fifth in those congressional hearings, you're playing into their hand. It's a constitutional right, yeah. This is the worst day to be on the road. There's more drunk driving accidents on Memorial Day than any other American holiday because it's always a 3-day weekend. Oh, Trump should definitely get the Nobel Peace Prize. Now, it'll be interesting to see what happens, though, because President Trump's pretty fed up with Russia and Putin. Right? So I'm very curious to see what Trump's strategy is moving forward. Is he just going to pull out and have the biggest, hardest sanctions ever on Russia? Or is there going to be peace talks? It's hard to say. But he called Putin crazy. He's like, I don't know what's happened. He's gone crazy. That looks like he's done with Putin, doesn't it? It looks like it to me. Now, this American, we've got two leftist American terrorists in the same week, right? We got the leftist Democrat terrorist that killed the two in D.C. last week, and now this guy that they got that was going to firebomb the embassy in Israel. You think that, you think he's a MAGA? I don't think so. I was telling you guys the other day, what the Democrat Party has become is really just a groomer for radicals. That's what they're doing. They're just grooming radicals. I mean, this guy had the Molotov cocktails at our embassy over there. I mean, come on. Of course he's a Democrat. Just like the shooter, the terrorist in D.C. last week. Well, remember, Obama got it before he took office, right? For expectations of greatness. Oh, Greenland would be nice to have as part of the United States. I would take a vacation to Greenland if they joined us, wouldn't you? I'm not too into the cold weather, but I'd go. Absolutely. Now make sure you subscribe, guys, those of you that are new to my channel. I'm not a big fan of the Marvel Universe. Yeah, we do have a military base there. Absolutely we do. Mm-hmm. Yeah, remember they relieved, Pete Hegseth relieved the commander of that base. She was criticizing JD after his visit. Mm-hmm. The United States is not the colonizer. We were a colony. Plural, we were colonies. We're not colonizers. America is the world's largest consumer. That's right, the largest consumer nation. A diet recruit, man. Greenland's pretty MAGA. I mean, there's only like 57,000 people. They're native Indians, and they're getting screwed by Denmark's ripping them off, stealing all their wealth. I mean, think about it. The way it works is the people of Greenland would vote. So there's 57,000 or so residents in Greenland. How many of them are of voting age? Right? Let's say 45,000 would vote, right? That's like a Trump rally. That's less than at a Trump rally. There's 45,000 in line for the men's room at a Trump rally, right? You don't think that Trump could get the majority vote to join the United States from the natives of Greenland? I think he could. It's a small population, and they are MAGA. Remember, on inauguration, or not inauguration, on election night, Trump had like the #1 online influencer from Greenland at Mar-a-Lago with the Trump family. It's pretty cool. No, we did not colonize Puerto Rico. We just took it from the Spanish in the Spanish-American War. We didn't colonize it. No, we just took it. We should have taken Cuba too. We took, what did we take in the Spanish-American War? We took Puerto Rico, Guam, the Philippines, probably I don't know, did we take American Samoa? I'm not sure what all we took during that. That's not colonizing, we just took it in the Spanish-American War. And Puerto Rico is better off. I mean, Puerto Rico, I would consider, even though it's in the Caribbean, part of Latin America. It's the only first world place in all of Latin America. Latin America is a third world cesspool, except for Puerto Rico, because we took it. And it's funny, I was watching a video on Guam yesterday. Guam, it looks like here in Florida. I was pretty impressed with Guam. They're better off being their own country. You obviously have not been to Puerto Rico. What Latin American country is better off because they're independent? Name one. They're all third world. Are you kidding me? Argentina? It's a dump. All of Latin America except Puerto Rico is third world. I've been to Puerto Rico many times. We've been there on 2 cruises, but I've been there other times too. Yep. But it is nice to have a day off, even though I woke up early. Half of America's third world? I don't think so. We're a first world country. Poland's not in Latin America, though. Looks like it's going to rain all day. Well, listen, guys, make sure you subscribe if you're new to my channel. Look out for my vlog later. And check out my podcast from last night, too, all right? My name's Brian Craig. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Thanks for watching. I'll see you later. Take care.